Well, is everybody ready for some levity? Americans' favorite lovable loser, Andrew Yang, is coming out with some news. First, he has a book out, and apparently he's going to start a third political party, which is pretty goddamn ambitious for a person that lost the last two elections. Granted, running for president, that's pretty high bar. That's a high step. But failing that, you couldn't get be elected in New York. So now you think you're going to go to this of all the thousands of people that tried, you're going to be the one to start. To actually, libertarians have been trying to start a viable third party for how many years? But here comes Andrew Yang. Um, So Andrew Yang, formerly a 2020 presidential hopeful and 2021 candidate for mayor of New York City, is expected to abandon his affiliation with the Democratic Party to start a third party this fall. The launch will occur in tandem with the release of Yang's latest book, Forward: Notes on the Future of Our Democracy, October 5th. Two people familiar with the development told Politico. Forward is an expected to be a condemnation of the establishment elitism and America's, quote, era of institutional failure. The funny thing is, this guy is an institutional guy. He's not a radical guy at all. He's as blue-pilled politician as it comes. Yes, what's his big? He has the aura of like some Asian tiger mom that's like really good at like really good at facts and figures, and he's like a CEO type of president that's going to get the job done. But actually, a lot of his positions are really half baked. His UBI thing. I mean, I don't have much respect for somebody that thinks paying people not to work is going to somehow improve the economy. That UBI thing was a huge pet peeve. But as far as personality, he's not a mean and nasty guy, so he has that going for him. As far as starting a third party, good luck. The funny thing is that you the fallacy is that America's political system is actually like a two party system, which is not even that. It's actually mostly the Democrats, mostly the deep state and the establishment. Yes, you have, like as in professional wrestling, you have the Republicans as like the heel, coming in and messing around or like from time to time trying to take the reign of power, and the other side like starts foaming at the mouth, starts a resistance, doesn't really get that much done, and later on it's back to the Democratic Party and what they want to do, and it's it's their straight line of progress, or quote unquote progress. A few prominent figures have offered comments on the book, including businessman Mark Cuban, who have called it vitally important. Yeah, you have your celebrity friend. You have your celebrity friends endorsing you. That's you're not a radical at all. The New York Times Kara Switcher left a blurb suggesting that the book argues that third party could be antidote to the uh, malfunctions malfunctions of our current political system. Quote, can there be another party in the U.S.? In Forward, Yang does not just give us a laundry list of intractable problems, but shows how we can find solutions if we think in new ways to summon courage and do so. What's disheartening about that is instead of solving things with the political system, you should really be talking to some economists. Like what? Because economists, more or less than political people, they are ideological, but they're less so. So if you was to seek advice from actual economists, they basically will be able to point where inefficiencies are in our system. What type of laws and regulations could be repealed to boost growth. But this guy is, I think maybe he's like stuck in the 80s or the 90s. Thinks that everything could be solved through the political system, which is probably just not true. America's too far gone at this point. After being deemed the favored candidate to win the New York City mayoral primary race, Yang lost out to Eric Adams, who gained momentum in the last legs of the campaign trail and is expected to be victorious in the general election, given the city's highly democratic makeup. Yang has taken some non-traditional positions for a Democrat in the past, passionately denouncing defund the police, okay, movement amid rising crime in New York, and supporting Israel's right to self-defense against the quote-unquote bombardment attacks launched by Hamas back in May. However, after Progressive launched the hashtag campaign accusing him of sympathizing with genocide, Yang retracted and apologized. Okay, so he clearly backed down. I mean, the only thing Yang I think he's got going on for him is, quite frankly, Sam Harris. I mean, Sam Harris as a public intellectual is pretty good on a few things, but when it comes to economics, politics, he's pretty lefty, pretty blind to, so totally blue pilled. And Sam Harris was friends with Joe Rogan and was able to get Yang onto the Joe Rogan podcast. That's how his presidential campaign took off. So Yang, he can, I don't know if he's going to win any elections or be successful starting his like third party and like that, but he's always going to be in the headlines because he's got ties to prominent people, so he can keep his name in the media.